We have a nerd alert.
I was pretty excited about this new Canon Rebel T7 I picked up, and everything that I read indicated that you could actually use an external mic. And then when I went to find the external mic, I found this port here, which is too small for your typical 3.5 stereo jack. And I just read in some spec somewhere that some douchebag posted that you could use that for a mic, and that's not true. And then somebody else said, oh, any camera that's missing a mic, you can just use a USB to stereo jack or mono jack converter and plug in an external mic, which is also not true for the Rebel series at least. So I was really looking forward to that, and I haven't even tested the built-in mic because I just really wanted to finally use an external mic and up the quality of my audio a bit. I'm using my old camera right now. Anyway, then I saw an interesting video by somebody who actually went through the effort of basically hacking their Canon camera. I think it's like a T1. It's much older, so it's a little bit different. It's what I suspected. I was a little bit concerned, so I couldn't find any videos like the one I'm doing right now on the T7, which is what I have here. So I figured, well, I might as well make one as I go through this effort. So the first thing you want to do is get the battery out. Might as well take the card out. You don't want anything that introduces additional complexity, and you don't want to short anything if you happen to touch a couple things together with your screwdriver. The other thing is you're going to need a pretty special Phillips screwdriver for this. I don't know what size this is. I'd recommend something like this skill pack here, where you get a whole bunch of different sizes and a multi-tool like this. And the other thing you want to do is pull out a piece of paper and keep track of all of your screws. So I have this piece of paper under here, and this is just something that occurred to me. I'm just gonna do a quick outline here of the profile of the camera in the hopes that this will help me keep track of the orientation and placement of the screws. I'm also, of course, recording this, so that'll probably help. So yeah, I feel pretty betrayed about this T7 not having any ability to have a mic, an external mic. I mean, from what I had read, it would basically just be a converter, and that's how you would add your mic to it, but that turns out to not be the case. And you're welcome to skip around in this video. You're not going to hurt my feelings. I know I tend to have rants. So I'm just going to start taking out the various screws and putting them next to the profile on the piece of paper. My lighting is terrible. These screws are in there pretty good, and they are incredibly specific. If you happen to destroy that screw face, I don't think you're going to have much luck with this side here. I was actually really hesitant to even open this camera up when I bought it and found out it didn't have the input jack, because if you have a mic like that, a mic built into the body, it's not a whole lot of effort to simply add a jack for it. But with a lot of these consumer electronics these days, they tend to have like permanence in the way that they're assembled. Like the order can't be reversed, or you have to like get out a heat gun and work on some kind of gasket. And the next trick is basically just looking for any additional screws that you might have missed. You won't necessarily have to take out every screw. I have incredibly weak fingernails, so that's pretty good that I'm able to pull on that. Now there's this like faux leather here. I'm wondering if that's going to be a problem. Seems like it might be catching right here. I'm trying not to force anything. Okay, so I just took this piece off, and now I'm seeing yet another 2 screws, which explains why I'm getting some resistance. So you like to hide things like faux leather surfaces or rubber molding over things. That's where they like to hide screws, so that you don't have all these unsightly screws everywhere, right? And because of that, it's really easy to overlook. Another common spot is labels. I'm going to try pulling this apart again and hope I do a little better. Oh yeah. So that popped right up without any issue. Okay, now they have a few ribbon cables. You do not want to mess with ribbon cables. Oh boy. Apparently that side panel just comes right out at this point. I actually suspect you probably could maybe fit, if you could find a small enough input jack, you might be able to embed it into the body, but I'd rather play it safe. One of the issues I'm already having is that these ribbon cables are fairly short, and you don't want to stress those. Here is the mic, two-wire thing right here, going up to there. Pretty straightforward. So it's just two-wire, it's mono input, which is kind of a good thing because it means I can use any old piece of crap I have laying around. Like I have right here a stereo to mono splitter, so the left and right channels here. This is a simple way for me to grab one of these and just put it in here. Like just stick a wire out rather. So then it just becomes how much wire do you want hanging out of your camera. Obviously you don't want it to catch on anything. Alright, so I'm just cutting this. This actually has more wires than I need. I thought for a second this was a structural string. Sometimes there's like a string. Well, I'm glad I confirmed that with a meter because this is a really strange wire configuration. Green is ground, and then the two channels are the exposed wire and the white. So because this is supporting stereo, I'm going to go ahead and just tie together the leads that would basically be the signal. You'll end up with something like that since this is mono. There's only one channel. I'm really poorly set up for this because I'm stuck in the house because my wife is at a wedding in California. So I'm basically in the house so that I can be here if my daughter needs me. So far, it's essentially identical to the Rebel T1, which I'll reference in the description. The guy explains things really well, really helpful. I'm more of a technical, advanced kind of user in this case because I do electrical engineering and all kinds of other stuff. So for me, this is all really straightforward. But so far, the purpose of this video is just to confirm that the T1 and the T7 are very similar. Yeah. Okay, so here's the scary part. It's when you clip this. There we go. And unfortunately, I also don't have any outlets near here. So it actually really sucks that I'm recording this. In the off chance that this helps any T7 people to confirm that this can be done. So I'm just tinting my leads here. None of this is magnet wire. So it doesn't have that built-in structural fiber. So it's actually not that bad. Can I melt it? This is actually giving me a little trouble. There it is. Try not to use too much solder, so I'm just flicking it off as I go. I need the flux exposed to it, but I don't want a drop to fall into the board, although I think it'd be okay unless it bounced. Doesn't look like there's anything really under this. There we go. So that's a neat little trick in case you're sitting there trying to use some wire cutters on this. You can often just get away with tinting right through an insulator. So there's a red and a black. I'm going to assume that the red is the signal. I don't know that this really matters that much. I am not an audio video kind of guy. The trick here is going to be hot gluing it. Let me just see where this is going to land. There's a really nice wide opening where I can get this through. I just want to make sure that I glue it in place. Oh, for a second I thought I lost the wire. Nope, we're good. And trying to use this before it gets too hot. I want to kind of create a bit of insulation around this using hot glue. I'm going to pull out some electric tape and just wrap that real quick. I am really just jamming this little project in real quick because I have all of my supplies in my lab and not normally in the house like this. Drop some hot glue right into this sort of canyon here. If I can get it to come out. There we go. Perfect. And push that in. I think the last thing I'm going to do is just dab these leads real quick. It's such a like a small inconvenience there that I can, oh wow, I actually can close. I can completely snap this back together and it's not going to be an issue. Surprising. Okay, now the only issue is I didn't put this back. Alright, so this is where I'm gonna need to deal with that little corner right there. Let me zoom out. So you can see right there, I have to make a little hole for that wire. As lame as it is, I think I am actually gonna just burn a hole. Well, in spite of having a drill around here somewhere, the battery is not charged, so I am just gonna burn a hole. If I was smart, I would adjust my temperature, so it'd stink up the joint. In case it's not obvious, this will probably, well, definitely void your warranty. I'm just going to try making that hot glue malleable. Laziness prevails. So there it is, our super professional result. Oh, this actually has to go into that little slot there on the side. Really? You're going to make me take this apart again just to... Oh, shit. Shoot. There's a ribbon cable that is supposed to be right there. That's the problem. You give this thing a little tug and bad stuff happens. Boys and girls, if this happens to you, I'll try to show you how to fix it. Basically, right here, this piece actually pops up slightly, and then the ribbon goes in. It's a sort of locking mechanism. Obviously, it just pops apart if there's too much of a pull, but I definitely am not set up to film myself fixing this. So I'm just going to fix it and then resume. So I just about pooped my pants because I went to turn this on and it wouldn't even turn on, and I was thinking, whoa, I definitely didn't mess with any of the main electronics on here. And it turned out that battery spot there has to be closed. I just about pooped my pants again when the camera wasn't working. It just tells you how stinking difficult it is to get these ribbon cables back in. Like, it was extremely finicky, and even though I had just done that little short jolt, I actually pulled two of the mounts out. Like, it's just mechanically held, there's nothing like soldered or anything, but you know, it didn't take much, basically, is my point. And now we are in good shape, but yeah, thought I ruined a fairly expensive camera for a minute. Let my lesson be a lesson to you that you need to be extremely careful. And that's the thing, I know that I need to be extremely careful, and I still screwed up. Going into this project, I knew that there were going to be these tiny little microelectronics, and if you screw up just a little bit. So if you manage to screw this up, which I almost did myself, don't ask me. I'm not going to be able to tell you. I know you're going to ask me anyway, but don't ask me. I think before I go any further, I'm just going to verify things are still working okay. Just now that I've been compressing all the circuits down and everything. Yep, looks good. 2018. I never buy things this new. Crazy. Looks like the last thing is this little flap here. I'll probably just clip that corner real quick. Just a little snip. So there you go. If you want to just about poop your pants, you can try this technique and add an external mic jack like this. It's actually quite simple, but boy is it easy to make a mistake. So you gotta really pay attention. But that's how you get that feature. I thought that the only difference between the T7 and the T7i was the ability to reverse the screen right here, but apparently it's also that silly mic. It's a very simple thing. They couldn't have saved more than a penny or two, you know, per camera. This mic that I got here, which I'll put a link in the description, appears to be stereo, which obviously I can't take advantage of that, but seems like it must be a pretty decent mic to support that stereo feature there. Another really simple solution to this is to record your audio in a separate device and your video, and then you can sync them up. I saw a great tip, if I can find the video I'll link that, where they just said to clap 3 times so that you can see the spike between the audio and the video using the internal mic and an external recording device. Just sync them up in a video editor, and that's a way to get high quality audio. So this isn't going to get me the best quality audio, obviously. A couple of reasons. The mic is powered by the device through this. It's like you know, the amplification is whatever's built into the camera, which is probably pretty bad. So it's not going to be great no matter what. And the other reason is that this thing is just mono, so you're not going to be able to get any kind of back and forth or idea of directionality of sound. Is this recording? I think it is. How is the audio? I'm not really talking into the mic. Now I am talking into the mic. So I hope this helped you out, and I hope it gives you some insight into the Canon Rebel T7 and what you're dealing with. You can certainly add that external mic input. It's just a little bit hair-raising to do so. You might have better luck. You'll need a few special things to be able to do it, and obviously having some experience with soldering and electronics is always a plus, but it is pretty rudimentary. I would definitely recommend you get a meter if you're going to be doing this, just to check anything out. If you found that helpful, please like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.